Hello everybody, this is Nick speaking. Welcome back to another episode of Planet Coaster. Today is episode number 12, and today we're just going to be tying up some loose ends on a lot of the different buildings here in the park and different areas, and trying to, bring us a little more cohesive. This episode we take care of the building here we didn't actually finish off in the last episode, and after this, we're also going to take over and finish up the area around the coaster and put in a new ride. So, pretty busy episode here going on, and as you can tell, we're starting off by, taking care of this sort of roof area right here, and yeah, I thought it was an interesting idea to take the brick pieces here and do this one. I've seen other people do this as well, so it's actually kind of works out well for the ceilings, except for when stuff doesn't want to line up correctly, like it doesn't most of the time. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing to discover. And then yeah, basically take this area here, kind of turn that into our roof-ish area, and then I think, if I remember right, I just take the generic sloped roof to the backside here pretty soon after repositioning all of these guys and making them line up, so we can have a coherent roof, because, that's kind of an important piece of getting a good-looking building, is to give it a good-looking roof, and we definitely achieved that here, I think, but yeah, some of this stuff was just kind of not really in a good spot to do it with, so I definitely like how this building ends up turning out at the end, because it just, I have less of the materials, different kinds of materials in it, but it still gives the same sort of feel that the other buildings do, and I definitely think that's a good part of getting this kind of thing going on for us, and it kind of brings the area together pretty well too, which is always a good thing to, figure out what we need to do to make everything just sort of fit together as a well-oiled thing. And, I'm definitely happy with how everything turned out around here. So, this area here, yeah, I do a little bit of detail work into it, kind of make it match the tower a little bit, but do enough different things here that it actually kind of stands on its own rather than just being the same sort of thing. I do end up taking that window over with me, though, because that window actually looked really good, but as you can tell from this spot here, it ended up not being in the correct location, so both of these planners actually did have to move, which was kind of interesting, space them out a little bit, and then I also have to bring, like, the windows forward just so we can actually get the details more visible and, make everything actually work together. And do I actually add the little bit detailed at the top here? I do remember that. Yes. And then we get that sort of thing going on there, and I think I also put, like, the little square thing in the top here. Yeah, there we go, and yeah, just kind of bring a little bit more detail to that specific window up there, even though it matches the other ones, because that kind of gives us a little bit of something different to look at. And then, yeah, we have this little area here in the front, too, that I kind of, took the opposite texture to, and kind of gave us a little bit of an area here in front to kind of look at too here, and it actually, I think, turned out look pretty nice as well, and definitely fits into the theme pretty well, so yeah, I'm happy with that. And yeah, I just end up using the same window here because it made the most sense, and yeah, I do sink it into the wall a little bit more just so it can, make a little bit more sense. And kind of interesting how the fade effect works on the windows too, is what I discovered by using some of these pieces here, because every single one of them just looks different enough where it's like a noticeable thing, and I like how even though it's like the same basic window design, it looks very different in every single place it's used, which kind of helps a lot in making things look like they're meant to be how they're actually done. And yeah, that's pretty much that building done. So next we are going to go and put kind of a little seating area here in front of the building, which is going to be kind of nice little addition for us. So actually I'm going to do some plants here first, and then I'm going to go do that, because, yeah, one thing you do need when you have food around is you need seats to kind of go with it, and I did a little bit of experimentation here and making some kind of like tables and that kind of stuff, and I do like how it turns out. I kind of position it in the center of this square area sort of here, and yeah, just raise it a little bit up off the ground, and if I remember right, I give myself some like ramps up to it too to make it look like it's meant to be something you're able to walk up to, which was kind of an interesting sort of thing to add, but I definitely think that helped out a lot in this area and making it look like it's meant to be the way it was actually set up to. And yeah, I think I end up removing almost every path in this entire area because of it, though, which, when you think about it, was kind of a not so great thing to have, because yeah, removing 500 paths isn't very much fun, and replacing them all and trying to make it look the same, because the paths do attach a little weird at times in this game, but it's not too bad all the time. And as you will see here, now I'm going to basically make the designs for both our table here, which actually I just used the same piece here, kind of rotated in a circle, and I think that actually turns out to be a really good detail here, And then we get a few tables. I just place them around this area, and yes, the wall is down below it, and it's going to stick out of the ground in spots, but, that's just a thing that, it's going to get covered up anyway, so it's not really too big of a problem. And then, yeah, I also end up putting a few kind of tables over here in this area on the side, so we can, have a little bit more seating over there. And yeah, that kind of worked out pretty well for that part. And now we get the chairs, which, again, I'm going to use the same exact piece I used for the tables, and I'm going to rotate it in different ways to kind of make it turn into a seat here, which is actually a very interesting thing to try and do here, because, the piece is definitely like a pretty small one, and I think I actually succeeded pretty well here with making it look like it's a chair that could actually be moved, but, it's kind of a little bit bigger of a chair, and I don't know if it's something that would realistically be in a park, but I think it turned out amazing, and that's what I like about it, so that's what I'm going with, and it's awesome. So yep, then just go around, and we're going to place chairs at every single table here, so this might take a little while, as you would imagine, to get, I'm going to guess at least, like, 50 chairs. That's probably a pretty good guess, I would think, because I think most of the tables I have... Well, actually, probably not that many, now that I think about it. Because most of them only have, like, 3, and they only place... Okay, so maybe more like 25, not 50. But still. Yeah, definitely placing all the chairs around is one of those things that had to get done, because, what's a table without chairs? Because I wouldn't really want to stand at a table in an amusement park. You're standing up all day, waiting in line and stuff, and who would really want to stand and eat too? I mean, come on, that's just... No, you want to sit down. So yeah, that there's a reason why the chairs are necessities. Yeah, and then I kind of, just take a little bit of time to decorate the area around this platform, decorate the area, and kind of decorate these sort of like planner sort of things, which turned out kind of good, and then also get some railings for this area, because, it is a drop, and, well, we don't want anybody falling and basically getting themselves hurt, so yeah, let's put in some more rails to try to alleviate that, even though, this is an area where they're actually going to be walking. It's just kind of a illusion, but, we don't want to let anybody know that. That's just a secret between us, okay? So yeah, railings. Let's keep people alive, because that drop would really kill some. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna imagine that I never talked about this, because I'm talking about a what 1 meter drop killing somebody. I mean, are we are? I am kidding about this, right? This this just doesn't make any sense logic-wise. Okay, so, anyways, we're placing more plants. Okay, cool. Placing plants. That's awesome. And, yeah. Got our little sign up there at the front showing that we got the, whatchamacallit, back behind there, and that's pretty bad. It was just on screen. I should actually know the name of it, so... Yeah, but then now we're just going to take some time filling the planters around the area here and basically turn this into our more or less big area that we need to finish off. And definitely helps a lot that we use the kind of flattish bush there, because that covers a lot of area really fast. And I definitely think there's still a really good thing to have available to us, so I'm glad to have it. And I think we're actually getting close here to the end of this first clip, so... Oh yeah, I put some rocks here around the tower, because it looks kind of bare by itself, so... Yeah, put a little bit of rocks over there, and... Yeah, I think this is where I... Oh, okay, there was a little bit more work here. We got the roof on the back here to kind of tie it into the area and, fill in the sides as well, because that's important. And I think I do a little bit work to the back here is what's going to go on now, because, yeah, right now it's just kind of a flat wall with nothing much on it, and yeah, that's kind of important to, make everything actually fit together, because, getting things to fit together correctly is always a challenge, and, you do have that right there, which makes things kind of interesting too, because we got this in kind of the modern-themed area, and then we got the pirate-themed area literally on the other side of the wall with all these shops and stuff. So it's kind of in a very interesting spot, too, which was kind of a challenge to try to get this in and, make it coherent for everything. So I think I did well on it and make it look like this was a sort of unified area, and on both sides really, and I think that helped a lot. So here we are on to the second clip, and yeah, I think, yeah, right here we start basically working on the area over on next to the roller coaster, kind of doing the same thing of, more or less just kind of planting things and making rock formations and, kind of tying it in the same sort of way we've got the other stuff going in already. So it's definitely one of the things we need to do. And, well, I think it turned out pretty well over here as well, because there's not too much left to do over here. So it's one of these things, again, we just want to, finish up the area, get it ready to go. And, yes, because, really there's only a few episodes left for this park. I think I was going through it, and there's 3, possibly 4 left, so... And that last one will basically be me just flying around the park and showing everything off. So, yeah, not too much time left to build, so definitely need to get everything done, and I'm happy with how things are turning out here, so... Yeah, it's definitely one of these things where we need to make a lot of progress in these last few episodes, and so, I mean, you can expect to get some longer episodes here. I think this one looks like it's about 28 minutes, so if you're listening still, we're a little bit past halfway now, so that's kind of awesome, and, well, more plants, always more plants, because, you need the plants. If it was just a bare park with nothing in it, it would just look weird. So yeah, this is kind of an important part, and then we take, bushes and all kinds of interesting things and tie them all together and make it look like it's kind of a cool sort of thing, and yeah, just lots and lots of bushes. I don't really know what else to say about that, but either way, I've also been doing a little bit of research into what I want to do with the next park, which not really gonna say much yet, but yeah, I've been kind of looking at different rides and kind of experimenting with stuff and deciding what I want to do, and I am really ready to, move to Alpha 3 and get things started over there. So yeah, it's not too much longer to 26th, which is only, let's see, only about 2 weeks away, which isn't really too long of a time, so that's going to be kind of fun. And at the same time, I think there's also going to be some plans for some other stuff in the works here soon, too. I can say that I did do some recording on another series, which hasn't actually been around for a while, so I'm kind of excited to bring that one back. And oh yeah, just, as far as the actual, what we're seeing right now, doing some terrain painting over here, over by the roller coaster, kind of, because, I don't want to spend time placing every single little thing down, and, we'll move on to something else and, put in some paths, because, paths are awesome. And, well, here we go, kind of making an interesting path here that kind of swerves its way down, which is kind of a cool little effect here, and do a double path, which this is an area where we're going to put a new ride up here, kind of up on the cliff here, and I think that was kind of a nice addition to have to the park, to get another ride into it. This one we're going to put up here on the top, if I remember right. Oh, nope, not doing it yet. Actually decorating the area down here between first. We're okay. I could have thought we put in the ride first and then decorated this area. Ooh. I'm even spoiling things for myself. Wow. Okay, so we're putting in rocks right now, and then we're going to put in the ride. Okay, wait for it. Interesting rock formations again, kind of. And I like how this one turns out too, because it's like we get the sort of path here, which has the railings on it because it's actually the bridge, but then since I put the rocks next to it, kind of looks like it's actually like basically on the ground with all the rocks around it, which really wasn't the intention here, but I really think that is something that actually made this work very well in this area, and I think it's a detail I'm kind of gonna try to bring into other places. Maybe not here in this park, because obviously there's not gonna be too much left of it, but in future parks, that's actually an idea I might want to experiment with a little bit, is to bring the rocks right next, to bring like stuff right next to the path and basically sink the area right below the path a little bit down so we get these railings, because I do think that actually fits the area, and basically when we need kind of a path border, it makes the path border actually created a little bit easier than having to place it just as scenery. But at the same time, sometimes, doing the scenery ones are kind of look nice too, which, I think I do have a little one here at the end, but not really too big of a deal on this one. So yeah, basically just decorating this area down below here, because this is across the area from where we have the chief beef and the toilets area and that sort of seating area. Yeah, so not too far away, and then basically took this tower from over by the entrance of this area, brought it in again. Yes, the same tower, I know. I'm being so creative here, but really, I think that kind of also ties in that this is one cohesive area, even though it may look different in parts, and I think that definitely helps bring that cohesiveness to the area. So I'm fine with doing stuff like that every once in a while if it does help give a impact into the area, and putting them at different angles too a little bit helps. So here we go. Now we're getting to the point where we're going to put in a new ride. The Worthy Rig. Ooh. And hey, it even just, joins right on to the new path we just put in, which actually worked out pretty well for us. And also, it gave me an opportunity to, give an interesting sort of entrance here to this area and do a little bit more path work, get a different way to join things in together. And yeah, we need to move a few trees to kind of tie it in together, but yeah, that's basically kind of up here on the hill. It still fits into the area, but kind of makes it extend a little further, which was definitely an important piece of this. Now, here is where we kind of get into the whole, hey, let's kind of design a sort of thing here that's kind of going to sit as our edging here, which we kind of needed it in this location because, well, there is kind of a sort of rock formation over there on that side, and we really don't want people wandering over to it. I mean, it's not really the best idea to do those kind of things, but in the end, that kind of thing just, yeah, you can tell it's kind of crooked, and I really don't feel like fixing it. Yeah, that's kind of interesting how that ended up happening though, and just I think it has to do with there's actually a slight slope there. But yeah, it's kind of like, okay, these pieces don't sit straight on the ground, and I mean, okay, fine. It doesn't bother me too much, but maybe just if there was a way to like, tell things, hey, this thing needs to be lined exactly to these axes. If you could like maybe make it so that that actually happens, that would be awesome. But uh, sometimes those things just don't happen, and I think we're actually, just repositioning a few trees. But yeah, I think that's actually gonna do it for this episode. So, oh, I stand corrected. We got one more thing, which is to put in the sign, and that is going to be our last thing. So I first tried to put it on the rock here, but yeah, it just didn't look right, so I ended up building kind of a custom structure over here off to the side for it, just a small one with, you know, kind of tie this in, and it's just a small thing to kind of, make everything fit in together and kind of end off this sort of bridge thing here and let people know, hey, there's a ride up here. You might want to wander up this path because you want to go to this ride. And see here, sign. I don't know why this sign does not align to the actual wall. It makes no sense because you would think, oh, it's a sign. We want to put it on something. Oh, let's align it to this wall. No, let's just instead align it to however we want to align it, and we'll just, kind of do something with it. So, yeah, I kind of put in some more foliage up here at the top to kind of fill this area in, and I think that is the last main thing I do here, other than I think a few rocks over to the other side of this sort of wall thing here, and yeah, that's gonna be basically how we kind of finish off the decoration of this area. Is basically just a lot of rocks and bushes and, awesome stuff, and apparently wood pillars to kind of tie these corners in, which worked out pretty well for us too. And yeah, I think that is it for this episode. If you enjoyed, or you want to say anything about this one or have any last minute suggestions for me, let me know. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.